Hi, everyone. I'm Ananda, the Galactic Mystic, and this is Navigational Astrology. Um, Today, I want to talk to you a bit about the Neptune Opposite Sun Transit. A lot of this will also apply to Neptune conjunct your Sun in transit, as well as square your Sun in transit. And today, right now, right this minute, I am having my final exact to the minute, could not be more exact, opposition of Neptune to my Sun. So even though it wasn't on my radar to make a video about this, I think it's important as astrologers to share our experiences when we have the knowledge to back up what we're experiencing. So let's get to it. So I didn't tell you much about me in case this is your first time here, but I am a longtime astrologer, mystic, and folk witch, and I will put a link to my bio in the description box below in case you would like to find out more about me. But I've been practicing for decades, and I have students, clients, and mentees all over the world. And really, because I have been practicing astrology for so long, there's something about being really dialed in to these powerful outer planet transits that we have, in particular, hard aspects. And people always say, Ananda, why don't you ever talk about trines and sextiles? And it isn't that I don't talk about them, but those transits don't generally initiate change or initiate a new cycle. They support those things generally, but hard aspects are much more noticeable in our lives and give us more meat, so to speak. We may not always like the meat we are experiencing. We may not always like it, but if we can walk with these transits, and that's when it's a really good thing to have a trusted astrologer who can give you, for instance, the dates, the date ranges of your exactitude transits when you really have the greatest potential to feel them. And a lot of times people want to know what's going to happen. What's going to happen? What's going to happen in my life? And I really want to focus a bit more about what it feels like and what we may be experiencing on the inside. So Neptune, I say this all the time, I'm going to say it again. Neptune is not always respected for the tremendous change that he can bring in our lives. The Neptune square, which is one of the, in the sequence of the midlife transits that we all have if we live to be 40 plus. The Neptune square is one, but then there are, Neptune conjunctions to say your ascendant, your descendant, the angles. All of these are very, very notable. And you will probably notice what's happening. And to know that you're having this Neptune transit to help explain what is happening can be incredibly helpful. Now, one thing I want to say is if you're having this hard aspect with Neptune and your Sun transit, but you're also having another transit, hard aspect transit involving Saturn or Pluto, that may be what you notice the most. The Neptune transit, it may be a little harder to find the pulse of it. That was my experience. I'm also having a Pluto opposition with my Saturn, which has been happening at the same time as this Neptune opposition to my Sun. And all year, I was really feeling the Pluto transit. It wasn't until Neptune stationed exactly opposite my Sun, and then just sort of has been inching, half a degree to the final exact opposition, that I'm really noticing this transit. So you can Google this transit, and it will say a lot of things about maybe confusion about your identity, maybe like having grandiose ideas about yourself that maybe other people tell you aren't true, and all of that. And, all of that may be true for some people to some degree, but it also may not be. And especially when it comes to the confusion aspect of your identity, if you experience that with this transit, can often just be about not having the energy to pursue anything. That can be a part of it. It may not be that you're actually confused about who you are, but it could also be an experience of dissolving certain aspects of your ego. Neptune either dissolves and removes things or spiritualizes them. It's one or the other. So with this being, in opposition to your Sun, our Sun is our vitality. It is our ego. And you will want to look at your natal Neptune, the house it's in, and of course, the house that your Sun is in, and probably what's going on in your 5th house as well, the house ruled by the Sun. All of these will give you clues as to what it's really about for you and help you find the threads of meaning with what you're experiencing. So if you have already experienced your Neptune square transit that I spoke of a moment ago, you will probably feel similarities. And that's one of the benefits of being really clued into these outer planet transits, because you get to know the planet and what its influence feels like for you, which can be very unique and different for each one of us if we can have a relationship with the planet, with the transit. So, okay. So the house that your Sun is in, that is a place where you probably are going to be releasing some things. Release can look like a lot of different things. One thing I always tell people when they're having a Neptune transit like this is to take as good of care of your physical body and your health as much as possible. Probably will have lower energy if you have underlying conditions, they can pop up. This doesn't necessarily create new health problems, but it can reveal or reinvigorate problems that you've already had. For instance, for me, I have vertigo. I first experienced just like really, really bad vertigo during my Neptune square transit. And this past week, with this becoming exact, just like the world is water, the floor is liquid, I have terrible vertigo. But this is something that I have had my whole life, not the vertigo, but a problem with this ear. As a child, I had a lot of ear infections, always struggled with swimmer's ear and something like that. And it's something that I inherited from my grandfather. So I know that Neptune tends to irritate that. I also was sick for a whole month with respiratory stuff, and all of that, it's not major, it's not debilitating, but it's kind of like a longer span of low vitality. At the same time, there can be a new type of, I'm not going to say spirituality, although a lot of people would say that. It's more like there's like a key to a door that you didn't have access to before. And that door leads to forgiveness of old resentments that maybe have not been able to be resolved. A type of softening of our edges a little bit. So it's interesting that the physical experience of what's happening to the body is also happening to our psyche or our ego in a really beautiful way. I don't think I could be mad at somebody right now. Like they would have to be real, have to be really serious for me to experience anger right now. I just feel very softened. And oh, I just had the wildest deja vu. A lot of deja vus too. And also very vivid dream walking. If you are a dream walker, if you tend to remember your dreams or you go traveling in your dreams, a hard aspect with Neptune in transit can be really wonderful for that. I've had a whole month of sagas every night, just an incredible saga that I remember every moment. So that's a really fun part of this as well. You may find that you need to eat more dense foods in order to be grounded. I found that to be true. I've been a pescatarian my whole life, and I never really liked meat very much. Denser forms of protein, just my body couldn't digest them. I didn't really like them, so I didn't eat them. But I have found that I've been needing small amounts of meat during this transit, and my body is digesting it. And I may not love it, but I don't hate it. And it feels like something that I need. And I'm talking about like amounts where it's like a condiment, but still, even just that little amount is very grounding and feels very nourishing to my physical body. Something that these Neptune transits, as well as some of the other outer planet transits, especially Pluto and Saturn, have in common is that when we experience them, we have an opportunity to kind of come to terms with this feeling of being at odds with the world. And in particular, the way we live in a world that fetishizes and like pedestalizes, I don't think that's a word, but there's this hyper focus on achievement and accomplishment and going and getting it and being positive and being visible and metaphorically the spring and summer of life, the upward climb, the yang experience of life. And these transits are not that. They're not that. I'm not saying you can't achieve anything or have moments of experiencing the spring and summer of life metaphorically, but generally these transits, definitely speaking about this Neptune opposite Sun transit, it's asking us to surrender, to rest, and to release. Surrender, rest, and release are not a part of that upward climb. They make that upward climb possible later. And this is when we create foundations, the roots. Without this part of the cycle, without the rest, the surrender, the release, the incubation, the void, without that yin cave-like experience, there's no route for our upward climb. There's no handholds. There's nowhere to put your foot. There's nothing. The wind will just blow your tree down, or you'll just slide down the mountain because there's nothing to hold on to. So in that way, it's a beautiful gift on multiple levels because we can really witness this problem in our society, in our dominant culture, this preference, this, the way it's like a fetishized illusion of a perpetual linear upward climb, and it's not that. So yeah, rest, release, surrender. Not even for the reason of, I'm doing this so that I can have the upward climb. We can't do that either. And all of this is an opportunity for us to notice that, for us to try and notice when we're trying to escape what we're experiencing. I always recommend leaning into these transits, leaning into the discomfort to see what it's all about. There's always a treasure there, and we always receive more when we allow. So with that being said, come see me if you are having some powerful outer planet transits, if you're having Neptune opposite your sun, or if you would just like to know what your next major outer planet transit will be, because they're all a gift. We may not realize it in the moment, but I mean, we are constantly being offered opportunities to expand in order to hold more of ourselves. And this is one of those things. So I hope this was helpful. If there's something I didn't explain or go over, please leave me a message in the comments and I will reply to you. And thank you for spending some of your time with me. I hope you are having a beautiful day, and I will see you soon.